Hello again. Here we are back on the dashboard of my main class blog, and I'm going to show you just a few settings that I like to change. So the first thing we're going to go to is settings right down here. When you click on that, I'm first just going to go just to general settings. So in general settings, it has to do with what the title of your site is, which you'll have already created. If you want to have a tagline, which that is ours, email address and so on. Most of this stuff will be automatically filled in based on what you put in when you registered for the account in the first place. You can change a few things such as date and time and so on. So I just wanted to show you that that's where that is. But what we're going to look today is at under settings, the discussion section. Now, this has to do with telling us a little bit about what happens when people comment or have a discussion on your blog. So most of these are default things. So attempt to notify. So these ones are all if you link to other people that they will be notified of that. Most of the time you want to leave those checked. You might override it for individual articles, but most of the time you want to leave those. I do want the author to have to fill out a name and email. I don't want people to be allowed to be anonymous. That just can lead to trouble. So yes, I don't want them to have to be registered, however, because that would mean that they would all the parents would have to register for an account with Edublogs, which you don't want necessarily. The rest of this I just left as is. The main ones I want to show you is before a comment appears, this is the one I want to add. I want to manually approve comments. I'm not necessarily worried that parents will make inappropriate comments, but it could happen. But also students can comment on each other's blogs, and I want to be able to approve those ahead of time. Comment author must have a previously approved comment. Not necessarily, because I want to manually approve all of them. So I'm going to take that one off and I'm going to leave this one on. These two kind of become redundant when you have the comment being manually approved. So I'm going to take these off only because I don't need, after I've already manually approved the comment, to get an email to say it's been posted. I will know because I will have posted it after I manually approved it. So those are the things that I am changing. You do have the opportunity to moderate certain characteristics of comments. I'm not going to worry about that at this point, or to blacklist certain words or comments, which again is helpful, I guess, if that comes up, but at this point in time, I'm not going to worry about it. Avatars, which we haven't even delved into yet, and I'm not sure if I will, just that they need to be suitable for all audiences, obviously, and the default if they don't have a custom avatar, which I'm just going to leave the regular one. You can change it if you wanted to, doesn't really matter. Anyway, then I'm going to save the changes. All right, next step then is creating a your student blog. So this is where you go up to My Class. Now, if you have not updated to a pro account, when you click on this, it will prompt you to sign up for a pro account. So because I've already done it, it won't prompt that for me. But if you are doing this for the first time, it will then lead you to a place where you can very easily sign up for a pro account, and then it'll take you right back to this page. So if you need to do that, pause this video, go sign up for a pro account, come back. So assuming now that we all have a pro account, when you are in My Class, what I want to do is I want to create student blogs. Now, if you had older students, certainly they could do this themselves. I'm going to create one for each of my students once I have a class list, just to streamline the process and make it a little bit more simple. When you go in here, you can create a whole class as you want, just continuing to hit submit and so on. So I already have created one, but I'm just going to go create another one so that we can get a feel for it. I've already decided that for all of my students, I'm going to make their username, first name, So I'll say his first name is Bert. Our initials for our school, which is HSCS, and the year, so 1617. So that's going to be what I am creating for all of my students, just to make it simple so everyone follows the same pattern. Now here, my students at my school have a automatically generated email that they all have. So at this point, I'm just going to put in one of my own email addresses and a password. Now, again, obviously you want to make a password that your students can easily remember, or write it down on a card, or whatever you choose to do. I will see if it will let me make it this easy. I'm not sure. And I'm going to call this one, it's Bert's Learning, because I'm going to entitle them all that. So this would be the Bert HSCS 1617. And then submit. Well, that's what I thought. It's not going to let me use the same email address. Okay, so for my kids, each of them will have one. I think at this point in time, that's all you need to do. Once it's all in and hit submit, it will automatically create student blogs. So from here, I'm going to show you the one I've already created. So when I click on student blogs, here on the left-hand side, under my class, it will take me to all the ones I have created so far. So far I've created one for Ayla, my daughter, although she's a little older than grade 2, but she's going to be my sample student for this project. So when I get to here, if I created one for everyone in my class, I would have a whole list going down of all of these student blogs. What I want to quickly draw your attention to after you've created this is that in your class menu, there are also settings. And here's where I want to change a couple more settings. So first of all, this will have already been clicked off, that this is a class blog, since you've created this blog through the My Class menu. At this point in time, I can't remember what the default settings were on here. I want to say no about having my students post on the class blog, at least at first. At this point in time, I want them to publish their posts on their own student blogs. I may, at a later date, allow some or all of the students to post on the class blog itself, depending on kind of how familiar they get with the blogging process and so on. But at this point, I'm going to say no. Moderation on student blogs. This one is important. I must approve all posts. I want to check them all, but I also want to approve all comments. So this is where I can assure parents that their kids are safe as far as comments and posts, that there can't be any cyberbullying involved as far as the comments, because I will approve them all ahead of time. Second of all, and posts, if for no other reason, that my students are grade 2, they might need a little help with the editing before they get to the posting process. Privacy. This is the part, again, I would like to be able to change at some point. But like I said, because I have parents that are a little skittish about this idea at this point, I'm going to keep it as absolutely secure as possible and make each of the student blogs have a password. So I'm just making it simple, again, with the name of our school, HSCS, 2C, my class. And then at the beginning of the year, I can send that password to parents and they will have access to it. And if there's other grandparents or aunts, uncles, etc., that would like to have access, it's an easy password that can be passed from their parents or from myself. And I do want to allow students in the class to be able to read each other's posts on the reader tool. So I'm going to leave that clicked off. I am the teacher, the sole teacher for this one, so obviously that one is my username, and I am the one who is the editor. So that's what I'm changing for settings on here, and I will save that. Okay. Now, when you change that setting, it changes it for all of the students. At this point, it just says one student, but that's because I only have one student put in for now. And then you are set to go with your privacy settings and so on for your student blogs as well as your main class blog.